Alright, welcome back guys, or welcome if this is your first time here. I'm Vision here with Blind Entertainment, bringing you guys another video. Today I'm going to be doing my review for The Walking Dead, Season 9, Episode 12, Guardians. I apologize for this review getting out late. I had a crazy week and just didn't have time to film this, so I apologize for this being out so late, but I did want to do it. So if The Walking Dead is something you're interested in, don't forget to subscribe down below and hit that bell icon. That way don't miss any more Walking Dead content from me in the future. I promise these reviews will be out prior to the Sunday before, so definitely stick around if you're into this kind of stuff. But let's begin. Alright, so first up we're going to start with Alexandria. Now this is an iffy storyline for me because part of it felt like filler, part of it felt like necessary stuff, but we got the council and we find out that the situation at the kingdom is worse than Ezekiel had went on to believe. The fair starting the day after this episode, the day after they're having this meeting, and that Ezekiel's situation is more dire than he led on to believe. Now, this is interesting. We also learn that Michonne has been vetoing just about every decision the council makes. So the council's kind of getting frustrated, and she's frustrated with them for not kind of letting her in on the relay mission for the radio that Rosita and Eugene were doing. So that I really liked how some of the stuff played out. It was very interesting, and I really liked the dynamics of the council. But I feel like some of that was a bit filler. Some of it was needed. Some of it, Then you move on to the stuff with Eugene and Gabriel. Now this is the stuff where I'm just like, really, it felt like filler. Now I know you need to build up these relationships. Someone's going to get piked out of this foursome. So most likely going to be Rosita, even though I kind of wish she would survive. But that's besides the point. I feel like this stuff kind of felt, I don't know, it just felt out of place. Eugene doing his stuff felt out of place. The little checklist, just, I don't know. It just felt like a waste of time. But then you move over and you got Negan and Michonne, and I really liked their conversation. I really wish at the end of the conversation though that Michonne had let Negan out on some kind of I don't know, like where he's paying off his debt, where he's got a guard on him but he's helping out, like he's out on like workman leave or something like that. I think that would have been interesting to do. Another thing I found a little frustrating is that she finds out that he can hear everything and is kind of eavesdropping on their conversations. Now, and then she tells the guards to board up the windows. Now, my question is, he's been in this jail for what, 8 years now? Something like that? No, they haven't thought of boarding up the windows prior to this point. I don't know, it just felt like a little forced. Like, really? You didn't think about this years ago? You didn't see this as being an issue years ago? It just, I don't know, it felt out of place and just frustrating. But then you got her, she tells him no, and she's kind of and you got Negan saying, I came back, you can trust me. It just felt like they were kind of doing this dance, because we know we can pretty much trust Negan. I know Michonne doesn't trust him, of course, but it's like we're just doing the song and the dance until Negan actually can get out, and it just felt like a little bit of a waste of time. But then you got her, she finds out that Judith was eavesdropping in on her conversation with Negan, and she has a conversation with her, and she's trying to explain to Judith that he's dangerous and that he can't get out. And Judith, who I really love, this actress is kicking it out of the ballpark with her performance of Judith. And she's talking about how, he's a human being and people can change. And I really love these scenes between the two of them. And then and then you got Michonne telling her, no, people can't change. And the conversation ends with Judith saying, you did. And I really like that, because then she tells her to go to her room, and it's like Judith won the conversation, and she's just trying to process everything that's going on. So I really like that conversation. And then after all it's said and done, Michonne decides, okay, I'm gonna go talk to Aaron, and the two of them decide that she's gonna put up the vote to help out the kingdom and send a delegation. And you got Aaron, who's saying, okay, I trust you. I believe that what you're doing is right. And he says, I just hope we don't regret this. And it's just, I love how they're doing that foreshadowing. I also found it funny. I always watch The Walking Dead with my dad, and he doesn't read the comics. And right as Aaron said that, he's like, oh, they're gonna regret that. I just kind of laughed to myself, because he has zero idea what's coming up, and I just found that funny because I just am so excited to see the Pike scene and who ends up getting. Then we got the Whisper camp storyline, and as we know, we saw Henry go over there or sneak off to go there, and he ends up catching up to them, and we got our first introduction to Beta, and Ryan Hurst just did a great job as Beta. So you got them there, and Beta captures him, and Alpha decides to bring him along as a prisoner. And he says that he came there for Lydia, but Lydia punches him and knocks him out or something like that. And they decide to bring him along with them. Now, as they're traveling between camps, you got a shot of Lydia and Alpha having a conversation with each other, and she's informing her of everything that they got, all the information she picked up from the kingdom or from the hilltop, and she tells him she doesn't rat out Henry about telling her about the kingdom, and she informs them that they have very few guns. So I really like that scene. It proves that she's on her side. Now, when I did my episode 10 review, though, and Heidi, if you're watching, I apologize for this, but I mentioned how I kind of didn't like how they cut out the rape aspect of the Whispers, and I know, Heidi, if you're watching, you didn't like that, and you kind of got mad at me for mentioning that aspect, but I feel like if they added that into the storyline, it would justify Henry's reasoning to go and get Lydia more, and that's one thing I was kind of disappointed that they didn't add in. I condemn rape in every way possible. I'm not saying I would want to see that. I'm just saying that it would help justify Henry. So if Heidi, if you're watching, let me just explain. I do not want to see that or anything like that. I just say it would help justify Henry in a way. But moving on, we didn't get to their camp, and we end up getting some interesting stuff with the camp. You see their way of life. You see some interesting stuff. Beta goes off and starts making a new mask for Lydia. And then you got Alpha explaining the way of life to Henry. Very interesting stuff there. Really like how they delve deep into the Whisper aspects here. It was just a very well done and very well handled part of the episode. But then, as we saw earlier in the episode, these two other Whispers were plotting against Alpha and were mad that she went back for her daughter. And they challenge Alpha for leadership. Now, this is where I kind of felt like the episode kind of hit a snag for me. Because look, the challenge aspect was a smart idea. It shows why Alpha's a leader, and Alpha even explains that through dialogue. However, the challenge itself felt very weak, because you got the girlfriend and boyfriend challenging Alpha. The girlfriend refuses to fight Alpha after calling her out, and then Alpha attacks her from behind and decapitates her. And it just felt weak. Look, I get the girl didn't want to fight Alpha, but she knew she was going to die either way. So I feel like they should have added something more in where she actually fought back. That frustrated me a lot, because like she just stood there as Alpha was about to kill her. Like, really? I feel like that was not what should have happened, and it just frustrated me more that they didn't add in more to the challenge aspect. I don't know, it just felt like they had something interesting, but then hit a snag and just decided not to go for it. I get that decapitation was gruesome and horrific, but I just feel like, I don't know, it just didn't do much. And then she just goes and stabs the boyfriend in the chest. I don't know. Again, some good ideas, but just poor execution in my opinion. They had some good ideas and good things going for them, but it just, when I think of a challenge, I'm thinking Alpha and this girl were gonna go at it and like have this big fist fight or something. I don't know. It just felt like I was getting into something, and then you get there and you find out it's over. It's like, it just wasn't worth it in my opinion. They should have saved it for some time later down in the storyline or next season. I get it, we need to see this happen, but it just felt weak and unnecessary. It just frustrated me more and more, because I feel like I said, they had great potential, but just kind of hit a snag there. But then after the challenge, you got Alpha and Beta going and talking privately, and Alpha's worried that the rest of the Whispers aren't going to follow her, and she's worried about Lydia and her loyalty. So they decided they're going to have Lydia do a challenge where she has to kill Henry. Now this is interesting. I'm going to get into that in a minute, but I really like the conversation the two of them had between each other. in that woods where we get a little bit more backstory in the Alpha and how the story about Lydia and the plastic bag. Very cool and interesting stuff. Just giving more insight into the Alpha character, which I really did enjoy in this episode. Now, meanwhile, I got Connie and Daryl's storyline. Not much really goes on there. They're just tracking them. I get what people are saying about shipping them. I honestly don't care. I think shipping is stupid, and I don't get the whole thing behind it. If they end up becoming a relationship, I don't care. It could go either way for me. I don't just care. You did get some good stuff there with the dog and how he broke the arrow. And I really like how Norman Reedus ad-libbed that. That was really cool. I really like how they kept that in. But it just really wasn't much else to go off of here. Just some kind of filler stuff. I get it, we need to see Daryl and him tracking. It just, I don't know. I feel like they could have cut these scenes out and you wouldn't miss much. But then you move on to Lydia and Lydia's challenge at night where she has to kill Henry. Now this is interesting. Now you got Alpha, who wants to make sure she's strong, she's able to be a whisperer again. Now this was interesting. I really like this and how they portrayed this, especially being at night. And then you got her telling her, don't be weak like your father, as Lydia's crying over killing Henry. And I love how they had her say, I know how my father died. And I really like that. And because she calls her mom instead of Alpha. So I really like that. That was really cool. I really liked how they did that. And I'm curious to find out if they reveal if Alpha realized what she meant by that. So I'm very interested what goes on here with that relationship. But then, as we knew, Henry wasn't dying. Daryl brought in a diversion, and Whispers are attacked by their own zombies, and they have to escape. And Daryl and Connie rush in, grab Henry, but then at first he won't leave without Lydia. So then she decides to take both of them, and then they run off into the woods, and it ended the episode. Not much else to go off of there. It was a very good episode. Some filler stuff, some okay stuff. If I have to give this episode a ranking, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 8, or 7 out of 10. That's how I'd go, 7 out of 10. But let me know how you feel about this episode in the comment section down below. So yeah, guys, that's my review of The Walking Dead Season 9, Episode 12, Guardians. As always, if you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and share. And don't forget to subscribe down below and hit that bell icon. That way don't miss any more Walking Dead content from me in the future. It has been Vision here at Blind Entertainment, and I'll see you next time.